What's up, everybody? You are tuned into The Output with me, your host, DJ Unprotected. I would like to invite you in on the conversation and join me in the discussion on Twitter at DJ Unprotected. Now, so if you hear topics throughout the show or you want to do some follow on feedback about things that were discussed, or you got some ideas for the shows coming up with guests, hit me up. Everything's on the table. You know, I got to know what you like to say. And if you pop up some memes, we like that too. So again, hit me up at DJ Unprotected. Now we've got another awesome guest this week on the show. It's someone else in the fitness industry. They're a professional. He's an international player development trainer, has worked with the NBA, WNBA, and Euro leagues, which is pretty impressive. His training videos are inspiring and intense. So let's welcome Coach Springer to the show. What's up, Coach?
What's going on, man? I appreciate you having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Cool, man. Definitely excited to have you on the show. Watch your videos, and I'm like, man, that dude knows how to inspire and motivate people.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Well, look, let's roll into the first segment here. Guest pitch. I give you about 30 to 60 seconds. I won't cut you off, but we can just, critique on how much you like to talk about yourself if you blow 30 seconds out the water. So, yeah, just feel free to kind of tell people your story, what you're about, whenever you're ready.
Got you. So, depending on how far you take it back, I grew up loving basketball, didn't really have it in my life. It saved my life to the point where, like, literally, I know a lot of people use that term kind of loosely, literally saved my life 2 times. My career ended in playing pretty early because just that's more than 30 seconds. Found training, found coaching, fell in love with that, fell in love with the game more, and then came to find out as I got results for people, found out how much I love developing people. I actually just got a DM from one of my players, pro players in Italy, that I had a great relationship with, and she was just sending me a message about how much it was great. The development personally, not just basketball, she got to the point she's using it in some of her church endeavors now. So that's the stuff that really thrives me, man. I do train internationally, but I have a program in San Antonio here called Spartan Basketball, where we help everything from youth all the way through NBA.
That's pretty sweet, man. So you are definitely like a hooper,
Yeah. I mean, the lifer. We'll say a lifer. We'll,
a
we'll call it
lifer.
that. Yeah.
What do you think about the term hooper?
Like especially with social media and everybody kind of, culture changes so fast and people adapt to culture so much. I think it's a real word, and I think it's someone who really lives that lifestyle. You know what I mean? But I think a lot of people also use it in different sense, like, oh, he's got the new Jordans, and he always is fly when he comes to gym. Back in my day, that was the guy who wasn't a hooper. You know what I'm saying? Right. He had all that stuff because he couldn't hoop. So it's a good term. I think it makes sense, especially if it really fits based on daily action.
I got you. I've never used it about myself because I would be one of those dudes who had the and one gear and whatnot, but I never made the team.
Yeah, it happens. Doesn't mean you can't love the game, though, right?
I mean, I appreciate it as a kid,
For sure.
And so, yeah, let's just roll into talking about sports. I mean, with everything that's been impacted this year, do you think like there's anything to look forward to, like for the rest of the seasons?
Absolutely. And I think the TBT tournament's proving that right now. I'm a little extra excited because I do have a couple players that are participating in it. One of them's doing really well. Marcus Keene for Sideline Cancer. Shout out to Marcus. But even as I sat down and I watched it, I was like, oh my God, I forgot how good it feels to watch live basketball. And one of my concerns about when basketball was coming back, in the barbershop type of talk was that, yeah, but the energy the fans bring to a game that you can, even when it bleeds through the TV, and that's a part of the experience as you watch the game, compared to, we've also all watched the game on TV where the crowd was dead and it actually, might have bored us or just strayed us somewhere else with our ADD, right? But as I watched the TBT, at least for me, because I think I'm a hooper or a lifer, I love the guys talking on the court. I love that means that they're spending more time in the huddles and you get to actually hear the huddles. And it's bringing you in the gym more. That I think it's really exciting. I mean, to the point where I think anybody can watch the TBT right now because it is competition. Pros, former pros, high-level college players, things of that nature. It's good basketball. but the energy's there. So imagine when that turns from Marcus Keene or Derek Wilson or some of these other guys, Joe Johnson, and now all of a sudden it's Kawhi and LeBron fighting for the playoffs. People are going to tune in. People are going to tune in. And I also think the WNBA, and I'm a huge advocate of the WNBA. The WNBA has been great to me. I did an intern with the Stars when they were here. Some of my best friends in this game are WNBA players. Some I consider sisters. They, it killed me that COVID happened when it happened right at the beginning of their season, because they are on such a rise to get the respect they deserve, the attention they deserve. Players are starting to get paid the way they deserve. I'm a little disappointed that COVID slowed that down, but I'm very happy that the WNBA was proactive and found a way to still make this season work. And maybe it's God's timing in that, all this momentum was built up and then COVID. Well, yeah, but maybe now that everybody's sitting at home still bored, and had the people who maybe wouldn't have spent that time to go watch because they were busy with their lives, or they had the NBA and that was good enough, maybe now they'll pay attention and see WNBA's great basketball too.
I mean, I think you've raised some good points. It definitely opens up the opportunity for like people to just now be more aware of what's happening, not only on the court, but the aspects of it. And then I think they can grow a different type of fan base. Like now people may have the time to look up the players and be like, oh, wow, like who's that WNBA star? And then they look them up on social media and they see their training regimen. And then they start looking on YouTube. Like now I think that there is opportunity to build a fan base, and then you get to hear them on the court. Like you can hear someone's frustration on the court. Maybe I think that's some good points.
For sure.
Because there's it could always be that opportunity. Like players. I think it's can almost be like to live musicians too. Like playing in front of a huge
Mm,
crowd is like so exhilarating, and it's those moments in life that you were like, I would die for this. And I've heard like some players say that too, like playing in front of thousands of people, it like that was a game changing moment to get them through any type of difficulty they had training in their life.
for sure. Well,
So
even Shaq said half the reason he DJs and does the stuff he does now is because when his career died, or when it's not when his career died, when his career ended, that that hearing the rush of the crowd and and somebody being excited for his performance or what he puts out to the world. But you as a DJ, I know you feel that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just like we were talking about the little DJ thing I used to do when I was a teenager. Like I used to love when someone would be like, "Oh, that mixtape is awesome." You know what I mean?
yeah.
We love that. It's admiration. You know what I'm saying? It's significance. So yeah, I think I agree, but I think the guys are so hungry to hoop right now. You know what I mean? And I even think some guys might be like, you know what? Just like nobody likes to win the lockout season championships because there's the asterisk next to it and it was shortened. I
Yeah.
think some of the guys are recognizing that this is history. This is part of history, American history, world history, NBA history. So why not be one of the ones that's talked about the most in this moment and go
It's
win
true.
the thing? You know what I mean? And a lot of guys think like that. Big picture guys, longevity guys, guys that really want an impact. A lot of those guys think like that. There's some guys out there that are just hooping and get paid, but a lot of the guys think like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good attitude. I know that because the NBA, some of the players and teams were like on such a drive to play. Like the NBA was ready, MLB not so much. They were having contract issues, but some of the players were like, "Hey, just like the NBA and those players want to get on the court, we just want to play baseball. Like, get the paperwork moving, get us on the field." And, I think those are like, I think the NBA said that because one, their season initially got put on hold or canceled. And then to set that example of, yo, we are ready to play. Like, we'll play safely, don't pack the stadium, whatever. Just give us a ball on the court. We'll get tested. Like, I think that drove it. And then baseball all of a sudden started making their motions to be like, all right, we're going to get on the field too.
For sure. That's why, at least from my standpoint of the sport that I get to be enriched in the most, I'm really thankful it's the NBA, especially in this era, because David Stern was, and now Adam Silver are so progressive and willing to lead, even by going, "Hey, we're done first. We're shutting down first." Like that's billions of dollars. That's like not just billions of dollars to that league. That's economic impact across cities.
Yep.
You think of a place like Memphis, how much money, how many jobs are probably created from the Grizzlies alone? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
A
Even in
lot.
San Antonio, and it's not just Memphis, but San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, they generate so much revenue. It's scary. So I love the fact how progressive basketball is, and even like starting with the bubble and figuring out ways to make this work. I love what the NBA does right now. I think their leadership is phenomenal.
I think, yeah, there's definitely a lot less controversy in that organization than like something like the NFL, and then even the MLB has their issues when it comes to contracts. But I think NBA does it right. They've been pretty consistent with it.
For sure.
So I know, like, keeping with your basketball, um, even with maybe players not playing, like, let's talk about effective training, because this could be like an extended off season for a lot of people, and not even just professionals, but say like someone who just likes to play maybe in pro-am leagues.
Mhm.
Like, what type of effective training, like, do you suggest, or what's the driving focus for someone right now?
Got you. Well, first of all, and I see where you're going as far as actual players that maybe are on teams, whether high school, whatever, or higher, or even guys in programs, or even just people in life, because the secret to this is not even really basketball. I tell my players all the time, and this is the first thing I would say is I just actually started working with a high school kid, freshman, played varsity, he's about to be a sophomore, and I said, "What do you want? Like, where do you want to go?" And I said, "Don't tell me you want to dribble better or shoot better. I know that. That's common sense, and that's part of this journey. But where are we taking this journey? Why do you need to be a better ball handler? Why do you need to shoot the threes more? What do you want? Do you want to score 20 points a game next season? Do you want to be all state? Do you want to be district? All district or all state?" And I think that's where it starts, is just clarifying it. And you can pick up any self-help book in the world, they're going to tell you the same thing for a reason. There's a reason everybody says the same thing, right? So I think
Right.
it's that, and then I think it's looking okay that, and then here's the hardest part I think players have, and people in general, because of how we're built, is getting a truly honest, genuine, unfiltered answer either from themselves by looking in the mirror, which I think is 50% of this, or going to someone who they know can get them to what their mountaintop is and they care about them enough to help them, and getting feedback from them like this player just did tonight, and then saying, okay, I want to be here, I'm here, and then start filling in. That's the bread. Now fill in your sandwich. What do you need? Do you need some tomatoes? Do you need some ham? Do you need some mayonnaise? Do you need some ball handling? Do you need to change your diet? Do you need to change your sleeping habits? Do you need to work on your emotions? Because I can't tell you how many times emotion sabotages anybody. I can't tell you, even people be like, oh, the NBA players have it all together, and a lot of them do. But you'd be surprised how many also have emotional frustration or whatever, or fear of failure, just like every other normal person in this world. And you got to start looking at what you got to fix in those categories. So where you are, or where you want to go, where you're at, what's in between, and then from there is what strengths do you have right now that will get you there? And I think the where people get backwards is they go, okay, so I'm here and I want to go here, so I got to kill all these weaknesses. Yes, you do. That's the
Mhm.
tomatoes and the lettuce. You do. I'm not. But if you start there, your strengths are going to diminish, and your strengths are really what's going to get you there, and at least get you started. Right? It's going to get
Right.
you to ascend. And then you shore up some weaknesses, and maybe you get a little more jet fuel. And then you strengthen some strengths, or you add some strengths, and now all of a sudden you're in the atmosphere, right? Or you're in the galaxy, whatever you want to call it. And that people don't realize how much more you got to put inventory on the strengths. Know your weaknesses, work towards them, but there's always ways to improve your strengths, right? You're a DJ, maybe you're great with. I went on your website. You're good with techno. You're really good. Maybe hip hop's a struggle to you, or maybe
Right.
contemporary is a struggle to you. So if you're good at techno, you're not going to stop banging on the techno. It's your calling card right now, and it's moving you towards the mountaintop. But you're going to
True.
go, man. But yeah, for me to be international though, I've got to have hip hop in my resume too, because some clubs don't want techno, whatever. Depending if I'm gonna be international, some cities prefer hip hop. I'm just trying to be as hypothetical as possible
Yeah, I get
and
it.
not going left field. So yeah, you got to add hip hop, but you're not gonna stop riding on techno.
It's
So
true.
I think it's, and then just from there, the non-negotiables, right? Michael Jordan said himself, what made him the greatest was not his competition, his competitiveness, not this, not athleticism, not even really his work ethic. I mean, to a degree, but he said it's the non-negotiables. If he told himself he was going to do something, there was no that little voice we all get. There was no
Mhm.
negotiating with that voice. He had already committed. He's already in. That voice can sit down and shut up. I don't know if those are exact words, but Michael Jordan, he's going to put it somewhere like that. It was his non-negotiables because you got your plan, and then what are you going to commit to daily? That's going to build the strengths and kill the weaknesses. And will you commit? Because how many people start a diet and don't finish? How many people start a business and don't finish? How many people say they're going to be this college basketball player and they don't get there? And they
Mhm.
could have, and they could have. Pros too. So I mean, I think that's the way of everything. And like I said, pick up Tony Robbins, pick up Zig Ziglar, pick up any self-help book. You're going to get the same answers. I just learned how to apply those to basketball. That's why we get a lot of results with basketball.
Yeah, that's man, that's a lot of solid advice because I read those like self-help books and stuff like that. And you're right, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it all comes down to the same mentality and the philosophy of, okay, how can I do better on all fronts? But you're right, you got to capitalize on your strengths, and then develop a plan from like maybe your weaknesses and then, look at your competition. Like so DJing, I know that if I'm trying to get a slot in a club and I've done my market research and I go out there and listen, and maybe that DJ is not so hot at transitioning in hip hop. So if I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to try to get a slot there, I need to make sure that my hip hop transitions are hotter than his. What can I do differently? Is he mixing after a verse and a chorus or is he playing the whole damn track? And like, how can I play differently? So you're right, but I still like have to know my strengths. Can I mash up can I still slide into techno? Can I kill that late night? Can't forget about that. But, what can I do to improve or be better? Because I know like for me, like my perspective on competition is like when you compete with no one can compete with you. Lao Tzu had said that. And I kind of like that attitude because you end up just focusing more on yourself, but you see what other people have to be like, oh man, like they did that, I can do it, and maybe I can do something better.
For sure. And to piggyback, that's funny because I just thought about this. I was listening to this podcast with Jamie Foxx, and they were I think it's the All the Smoke. Not to mention another podcast in your podcast, buddy. My bad.
Oh,
Um,
good.
but I love Jamie Foxx, man. I think he's one of the funniest dudes alive, and just his accomplishments. You watch his career. I grew up in the Jamie Foxx era. You too. But it was funny to listen as they took him through, like, okay, tell us how you got on In Living Color. Tell us how you got that job with the movie Ray. Tell us how you got on Collateral. Tell us how you got to be in the Ali role as a co-star, and how'd you get this new Mike Tyson? And it was funny, even when he was, I get when he was in Living Color, you have to do a little extra to get paid attention to, especially in Living Color. Man, what a lineup! You got
Yeah.
how many comedians are Hall of Famers now? If there was a Hall of Fame of comedy, right? Maybe there is. I don't know. But even when he
Legends.
was Jamie Foxx, where he was killing the movies and he was killing the music charts, every project he had, he would go and take initiative and do something special and unique to make sure that he showed that worth to close the deal. Even after he was Jamie Foxx and people were begging him to be on his stuff or their stuff,
Right.
or vice versa, because he did both. You know what I mean? And to me, that just said a lot to the whole process of that, right? It was, where are you going to go with this? Like you were saying, that market research, he found out one of the investors for the movie Ray liked this about Ray Charles, so he put together this whole little presentation. You know what I mean? After he was Jamie Foxx already. So I'm 100% with you on that, man.
Yeah, that's what's up. And I like that you brought up Jamie Foxx because I know like Steve Harvey when he had this speech about his turn back moment. Steve Harvey, one of the greatest comedians. I mean, dude killed the game. Was the longest running host uh, y- of damn, what was that comedy show?
We had the
I-
Steve Harvey show.
Yeah, well, he
And
had
then the
that
Kings
one.
of Comedy that they did the stand up with all the Bernie Mac and Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah, and so prior to that, he said like he was trying to go get a gig, and walked in the room and was like nervous seeing like Jamie Foxx. And he was like, "Oh man, Jamie Foxx got laughed at on stage." And then he was all nervous. Like, so Jamie Foxx was like killing the game before his elders or legends. Like the dude was, and then in Django, I mean, that movie was like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I got a lot of respect for Jamie Foxx. Came out singing.
Just killed it, man. Just killed it. Any Given Sunday, they talked about that. I actually got to put my sons on to Any Given Sunday now. It's a little vulgar, but they'll get the point. It's a good. Any Given
Yeah,
Sunday is a classic, dude.
it is. It definitely is. That one's. I'm probably gonna have to watch that again this week.
Speaking of that, he said the special thing he did to land that part, because they first said that they didn't want him. They were trying to give it to Puff Daddy. He went and started acting like he was Willie Beeman. Like he would pull up with like different car every day, women in the back. He made up the Willie Beeman song before they like even decided it was in the movie.
Wow.
Like he just went and lived the role so the people that were decision makers were like, oh wow, yeah, you are that dude. You're Willie Beeman. You're not Jamie Foxx anymore. You are Willie Beeman. Okay, we'll use you.
Yeah, that he's definitely someone that people should probably look up to more and do research on if they really needed some inspiration in their life for sure.
Or just want to laugh because that dude was funny. Funny.
Yeah, he
Matter of
was.
fact, I tell my boys, if we don't watch Any Given Sunday tonight, we're going on YouTube and I'm gonna let you see all of his In Living Color skits because Wanda, all that.
Yeah, all day. And then when he had his Jamie Foxx show, that was hilarious too. And I used to watch a UPN.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was funny. So definitely a hilarious dude.
for sure.
So, no matter what anyone's pursuing, adversities always come up, challenges. But for one thing, and I know it's affected me, like when I played baseball through high school, and then even now, like I'm in my 30s. So if I go play sports, there's a chance like I'm going to sprain an ankle or get an injury playing like ultimate frisbee during a competition. And then like the next 6 to 8 weeks, I'm bummed. Like how, especially in like basketball or when you're working with people or training, like the best mentality or how do people overcome an injury without like being down on themselves?
Good question. You know, I think first of all, people have to always accept the fact that there's going to be things beyond our control, and we're controlaholics. Some of us a lot more than others, but we're all controlaholics to some degree. We all want to influence it, and of course, we all think we want perfect lives, and we think that we want these lives that are smooth paved, no bumps, no speed bumps, no roadblocks or anything. But if we really had that, life would actually be kind of boring.
True.
And so we find those so I think that's number one, is accepting the fact that not everything's going to be in your control. And if you can understand that every single day, whether you look outside, look at the weather, like it's 103 here in Texas, but it may be raining and freezing cold over in wherever, Alaska, wherever, you know what I mean? I think that's number one. I think number two is always that I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. Everything. Everything. I was supposed to be in Italy twice this last basketball season. The first time was going to be because I was actually going to coach the team and be on staff throughout the year. It didn't work because of some nonsense work visa stuff, gender inequality of Italy. And that's the only negative thing I have to ever say about Italy. But they wouldn't
Wow.
grant me a work visa because they said that the pro women's team that I was going to work with, which was had WNBA players on it, was not
Damn.
professional, so they wouldn't grant a work visa. So I'm not even going to vent here. I'm not getting on my soapbox. So I was supposed to be through the whole season, and then they hit me up in February and said, "Look, obviously we're already majority through the season, but can you come out for 2 weeks, work with the players to push for this playoff run?" And I'm not saying no to Italy. I love Italy, especially Sicily, especially Ragusa. I love everybody there, and the beaches, something different. So, anyways. At that time when I was about to go a week or two before, which was in March, it's when America was finding out about COVID. As in, it was coming, not it was over there and we're not
Sure.
scared. And even, my wife was like, "Are you going? Are you not going?" We as partners had to look and say, "Okay, what if this happens? What if I get sick over there? What if I don't get sick, but I get quarantined when I come back here? What if? To the point where up until the day before I was supposed to fly out, it was a green light, and then they texted me the day before and said, "Don't come. The government's shutting down all basketball."
Wow.
When I got denied the first time, and then COVID shut it down the second time, that was an injury to my mind and my emotions and my spirit. Like that was advanced. That was something I'd been working on. Coaching on that team is something I've been working at for 3 years. I went over there to Europe my first time, invested my own money to get that opportunity and work the relationships. And then no, and then no. It's like an injury, right?
Yeah.
And it got me down. I'm not gonna lie. I was down for a week or two, and then I had to remember I don't control everything. Everything happens for a reason. Obviously, it's obvious to figure out what the reason was I didn't go. It's very
Yeah.
obvious to figure out why I wasn't supposed to be in Italy for whatever reason.
Right.
And then how do I become stronger? What do I learn from it? Because number one, I'm going to take full responsibility. I'm going to say, what could I have done better? Where could I have been? Boom. Maybe I should have hired an immigration or international employment lawyer. Maybe I would have
Yeah.
been over there. You know what I mean? Or just I'm thinking of anything, injuries, right? Hey, maybe I didn't do enough ankle stability exercises at home, like my coach told me to, and I rolled my ankle. Hey, my coach told me to stretch all the time, and then I blew my ACL, and they said it was a lot of it because I didn't have good mobility. That's your fault.
Yeah.
And okay, those things happen, but okay, once you see that and recognize that, are you going to do something to make sure there's not a second round of that because of you?
True.
If anything, shave it down to where it's just the things you can't control and see how you can influence them. And then go because nothing's fatal, nothing's final except death.
Yeah. I like that. I
You
mean,
know what
not
I
the
mean?
death part. Yeah. I feel you 100% because I know that if I don't stretch or warm up before I go and play a sport, whether it be like, just a fun like intramural thing or whatever, kickball, it doesn't matter. If I don't warm up beforehand, like I'm gonna get a tight hammy, and then all of a sudden, like, so I know I had to learn those lessons, unfortunately, twice. But like you're saying, you can't beat yourself up too much. You have to be like, all right, well, next time, like now I know I got to stretch or do these exercises, or maybe I need to be more limber and like, improve myself so that way I'm not being reactive. I can be proactive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that mentality.
Sometimes I even try to with myself, or I've helped. I know a lot of people they take it as a game, like they take that as a challenge. Like, oh, so you decided my ankle wasn't going to work for 6 to 8 weeks. Okay, watch this. Watch this. Watch how my form of my shot gets because I can stand next to a rim and not jump, and I can work on that. Watch this. I had a player that had no left hand one time when I was coaching her, and she broke her right hand. She couldn't do anything with her left hand before the injury, right? She couldn't dribble, she couldn't shoot, mediocre finisher. She sprained or gosh, I don't remember the injury, but let's say she severely sprained her right hand. She
Yeah.
went and put so much work in her left hand that she could drive left, finish left, and had a floater left, and almost could even joking around shoot a left hand free throw. By the time she came out of an injury, 6 to 8 weeks later,
Wow.
you know what
A
I
lot of
mean?
work.
So
Yeah.
she turned it into a game. So that would be the other thing if you can find ways. Obviously, not everything's a game. I don't know how you make COVID a game. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
there's things
I,
out there, you know?
yeah. No, I like that. I like that attitude. You got to, and that's also working on weaknesses. Yeah. I mean, they could dribble, someone could figure something out, to get better for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. So are you into like other sports? I know you're heavily into basketball, but what about like football and stuff? Are you a fan?
Football, I am. I've always been a fan. I've kind of been a fake fan for probably the last 9 years because I was so wrapped up in getting better at basketball and learning business so that I just want to be great at that. I ignored everything else. I used to play baseball when I was young. It was actually my first love. It would have been basketball, but my household it wasn't like it was baseball and football. And I wasn't allowed to play football because my mom was an emergency room nurse, so you can tell what part of football she saw all the time.
Right.
Um, anyways, but my sons started liking football, and my sons have been wrapped up in basketball. But our life is 99.9% basketball between them going to the gym on their own, coming to the gym because maybe they need to be with dad because mom's working, or I come home and talk about a player I'm excited about, or the business side of it, which business never stops.
Right.
So I was like, go do something else. You tell me what you want to do, but let's go do something else. They chose football, and I have fallen in love with it. fall in love, especially the training component. And I've stolen so much that I've watched them go through. I put them with a really great trainer that did a really great job with them. Not only football, like catch a ball and know this route and this, or how to hike, what throw, whatever, but speed on the track, athleticism, agility, just everything. That I love football now, and it's something that me and my boys share now, even watching it. So I'm getting to football. Football's, and on top of that, dude, when you obsess on one sport for 15 to 20 plus years, because you had my playing career right before it, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to go learn something new.
Yeah.
And one of the Spurs player development coaches a long time ago, I got a chance to just pick his brain. He always told me, dude, it doesn't matter how old you get in this training business, you better go play or try to teach something new all the time. It will keep you young, it will keep you fresh, and it will keep you innovative. And I've just always followed that lead, and football is where we're really running with it right now.
What's your favorite team?
Growing up, it was the Cowboys. Weirdly enough, I was young enough that I liked them after the 1-15 season. I don't know. Kids do stupid things.
Yep.
And then right after that, we got Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and Michael Irvin. So everything was good for a long time.
Yeah, for real.
So I can't really say I have a team, man, to be honest with you. I mean, I'll kind of still go Cowboys because I'm in the vicinity now in San Antonio. But I could not to say I'm a bandwagon jumper, but just like with basketball, I just like people who do it the right way. So I like what the Chiefs are doing. Mm-hmm. I love Lamar Jackson, but I've always loved athletic quarterbacks. I love Randall Cunningham. Michael Vick was still is one of my all-time favorite players. I wish we could have saw his true greatness if he had never went to prison. I'm not judging that man. If he messed up, he messed up. But God, I would have loved to son that man. I mean, you can't go to prison and get better. You can't.
Right. Yeah.
He lost those prime years, and still came back and murdered the league. So it's probably not a good murder prison, but anyways. So I love Lamar Jackson, Chiefs. I root for my son's team. So my oldest one, he's a Chiefs guy. My younger one, he's young enough that he played Madden one time, and Derrick Henry ran over everybody. So the Titans are his squad. You know what I mean? So that's I don't have anybody myself, but I have some for other reasons.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's funny that you brought up the Cowboys being from New York, because I had so many friends growing up too in New York who were diehard Cowboy fans, and it just tripped me out.
Yeah. But they were the Bulls of that era.
Yeah, they were killing it in the 90s.
They really were America's team then. And I think that term started in the 70s or 80s, but
yeah,
all that success in the 90s really brought that home and revived it. Because remember, the Niners were kicking everybody's butt for a while. Yep. And then they kind of built up and worked their way in the system.
Yeah, that's right. So I think the biggest news right now in football is the Colin Kaepernick situation. And, I always like to get other people's thoughts. For me, I don't think he should get another chance. And it's not because of what he stood for or anything. I've been 100%. I was behind what he was initially, what he was fighting for, the justice system. There's an issue going on,
right.
Racial profiling, all that. It's not cool. I was always 100% behind it. I'm sure you had to have witnessed it or seen that type of stuff. In New York, very diverse, state, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that his approach to it, so I don't think he should have a chance, because football's a business. You got owners who don't give a shit about the sport. They only care about making money.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to hurt making money. But I always like to find out other people's perspective, because it's not a hate thing on individual, but a business decision. In my perspective, that dude should not be hired for a job.
Got you. Well,
could be right, could be wrong, but
yeah. I'm not gonna say what I think of your opinion, because you have the right to your opinion. You know what I'm saying? I will say this from working with pros in general, and I've been able to interact with football pros and baseball pros too. And if you're good enough, then you deserve it. And if you get your shot and you perform and you earn it, amen. Regardless of what's happened. I mean, there's Colin Kaepernick, in my opinion, and I'll get to this part in a second, but is a leader is someone who decided to put himself on the cross for everything else. He gave it up. He gave up a lot, and there's a lot of guys that wouldn't, and still say to this day they won't. You know what I mean? So I think if he should get hired, it should be because someone decided he might be still good enough, and maybe they're gonna look past what happened, and the reason they didn't give him a chance to begin with was because of what was happening. But now we see that we should have listened to him from the beginning. We should have listened to him from the beginning, because if the man was willing to take a knee during the national anthem, which he knew was going to cause a problem, but he felt that deeply about this situation, we should have listened to that man. And I'm not saying that it would have changed everything, but man, could that have been a pivotal moment before we got to this? You know what I'm saying? So I would hate to see he gets it for a couple reasons. A, they're just doing it to kind of say, hey, we're part of this too. Look, we hired Colin, but he's going to rot on the bench. Because a lot of those football owners they're stirring the pot more than they're helping the cause. You know what I'm saying? I saw a statistic the other day, and I don't want to get into politics either, but our president stirs a lot of our racial problems. And a good portion of his donations for fundraising comes from NFL owners.
Well, a lot of old school cats.
I won't go any deeper than that because it speaks for itself, and I'm not here to judge and all that. But my point is, I would hate to see Cap get hired because someone wants to pretend maybe he is one of those guys that supports Trump or really does believe in racism or really doesn't care about equality, and he does it to put on a dog and pony show to act like he's really with it, whether it be to get his players to like actually believe in him, because those players know if those owners are racist or not, or if they care or not. They know. You know what I'm saying? Look how fast they knew about the Clippers guy, right? You know what I mean? They know. So I hope he doesn't get hired for that. I hope he doesn't get hired because you're right, he could affect business, because there's probably enough people that watch and spend money on football that they would go, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Burning all your jerseys or whatever stupid stuff fans do sometimes, right?
Yep.
But someone might try to play the other card. And to use the example of Trump again, Trump plays I'm going to go wild, attention, and negative and piss you off so you pay attention. And some owner might go, I don't give a fuck if excuse me, there we go. I don't care if we win. I know everyone's going to pay attention to Colin Kaepernick. I know Colin Kaepernick's jersey is going to sell. I hope he also doesn't get the job for that. So back to my point, I hope if he gets the job, it's because someone really feels he's worth it and he's good enough. And when he gets there, he earns it by his opportunity. If he's to be back in, I hope it's only for that. Will it be? I don't know. It's a multi-million-dollar business, so who knows? I mean, look at WWE. They do all types of crazy stuff to be a billion-dollar business. So who knows? You know?
That's true. Yeah, I hope it doesn't turn out like like a Tim Tebow situation where, with the Jets. I mean, they just ruined his career, hired him, and then he sat back at a bench. And that just wasn't cool. But that was an owner play. There's a time and place for faith and religion, and hey, I give the dude a lot of credit. He was true to his core all day, but those 70, 80-year-old increpid millionaires don't want to have to deal with those conversations of, faith or whatnot. So, but I hope it doesn't end up being like the same thing, like, oh yeah, we'll take him. And then like you're saying, all of a sudden he's kind of muffled in the background.
Yeah. And it was a political move. I don't want to see, because that's not fair to him either. Now, granted, I think he's smart enough to figure out if it is or not as he walks into negotiation. And if he takes that himself, I mean, I can't help the man if he decides to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he would be. But I think, here's what I would like to see, honestly. I was thinking about this as we prepared for this today. I hope at least someone like the 49ers, which he contributed to their organization, or even other teams in NFL, spend a chance to recognize him from the civil rights standpoint, right? From like how a lot of times maybe Rosa Parks is revered because of what her decision was. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's I can really relate that, and I don't want to disrespect anybody, and I'm not a good enough historian to say those are too close enough. But from my standpoint of, I hope next season and moving forward, there's, like I said, either a pregame 2 second little, hey, thank you, Cap. You know what I'm saying? You made our NFL better, or we should have listened, or whatever, as long as
Right.
it's genuine. Because the man, hopefully when this is all done, and hopefully the right things come from this, with everything that's happening right now, to where we do find more peace and equality with each other, to the point where we can go back, and I'm not comparing him to MLK, because that's a whole nother world, but we can look at him in the same light of an MLK and say, if Cap hadn't done that, how much longer would have we gone on the wrong way? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
I
hope
think
that
it
happens.
Yeah, I think it definitely poses a chance for a different type of and a new type of perspective on the action that he took.
Yeah,
I just
like
hope
a
it's like
Jackie Robinson. Sorry, not to cut you off, but Jackie Robinson's
yeah.
better than comparing him to Rosa Parks. My bad. That's
No, I
bad.
mean, it's just people standing for something, but yeah, like I couldn't imagine what, Jackie Robinson went through. I loved like that movie was an eye opener of exactly what that was like, and dude had unbelievable amounts of talent and had to deal with it. And like you can't, there you have a professional athlete where his emotions and his mentality was probably being ripped apart by the second, but
Yeah,
he still performed. That's crazy. Like he found somewhere the drive within himself to say, they're not going to beat me down. But he screamed, I'm sure.
yeah. Who
So,
knows? Who knows what happened? I mean, I'm sure we probably don't hear all the stories.
yeah.
Guys like soldiers go overseas. You're not going to hear every story, because some stories are too hard to share. You know what I mean? So we might not even got at the history of everything bad that happened to him.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we don't even need that because it would just like, it would push away from the highlights.
Yeah, for sure.
But, I know that that type of topic we could probably talk about for like 3 shows.
Yeah, 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 for sure. I'm real big
So,
on the equality. Real big on equality.
yeah, 100%, man. We definitely need more of that. Like, our nation needs to start moving in the right direction. Like, we gotta get right for men, women, all races, religion, it doesn't matter. Like, that's my I mean, if you're a human being, like, you should live like a human being. Choices, you know, 100%.
But my thing is this is like, hasn't history shown us enough, especially in this world of technology, where now we really see what other people do, and how normal, and how much power we have in unity in anything? You can look at sports, you can look at businesses, you can look at things that nations have done together. We are so much more powerful as humankind when we are unified and working and learning and growing together. Together. And when people can finally understand that 99% of your hate or your anger or whatever it is either a lack of education and understanding, which there's no
Mhm.
excuse for that anymore because of what I said with the technological age. And the other part is insecurity. So usually I mean, why else would you hate anybody for being anything different? If they haven't done anything to you, you don't even know them. How could you hate somebody? Like, that's not normal. That we're not born like that. So
Right.
that's either the insecurity, either you were taught some bad information, or you weren't taught enough information about what it should be, or you're just insecure and you don't even like your own skin.
Yeah.
So to me, I just hope, like, can we just see that? Even the people who are racist, like, can't you see that if we all work together? I mean, look at all these other problems we got. We probably could solve a whole bunch more of these other problems if everybody worked together, if there was equality in opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Like, equality in education. Wow. America really would be still the most strongest nation in the world, probably, instead of being the nation that everyone looks and says, oh, it's only a matter of time now. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right. Like people just plug in and see the strength of people, not, you know, the specifics of like, ethnicity, gender, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's the unity. I think it's gonna take time, but also it's gonna take leadership from the top, like, and not to get into the politics and stuff, but we need
Yeah.
to unite, not divide. And I think that's important. But anyone could look up speeches and make their own decision on where
Mm-hmm.
they think that is headed right now. But Let's talk about social media game, because I know that, you're you do really well at it. So I want to ask you, do you use social media for more like your business side or your pleasure side of like the entertainment value? Like what are your thoughts on that?
Got you. I do try to stay away from the entertainment because it can be. I get caught up in the spider web everybody else does, or the rabbit hole everybody else does. Um, it really started as business because I started my business, my Spartan basketball business, before smartphones, before social media. I was printing out 250 flyers that I couldn't afford, which were a lot more expensive back then too, and taking time away from the gym to go put them in windshield wipers at tournaments and them having no results, and there was no online payment, and so I had to pray that someone would show up with cash because I had a new son at home, and I was a student too, and I was, you know what I'm saying, like
Yep.
when I saw that coming, I said, oh, you're gonna let me talk and show, and that's all. And back then it was at the beginning of the business. I had so much passion. I was young, I was energetic. I still kind of look like a basketball player now because I'm 6'5" and moderately fit, but I was 21, 22, 23. I was still a hooper, you know what I'm saying? And so I just needed that platform, and I had found that basketball was my wave, especially once I realized it saved my life for the reason of helping others. And I said, let me go. So it really became that. And it started because I was immature and young in business of how can I sell? How can I sell? How can I sell? And then I started to figure out, well, how can I serve? How can I serve? How can I serve? And then if I help enough, they'll want to come pay to train with me anyway,
Okay.
and I really credit Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm a huge student of Gary Vaynerchuk. If you can handle foul language a little bit and brutal honesty, I
Hmm.
think he's great for anybody that's trying to serve and sell online. And I stuck with his methods, Russell Brunson, and I just used social media in the way they taught that it was about being a leader, which was all my basketball was about. I wanted to lead. I wanted to help players hit the goals they wanted to in basketball because I didn't, and then I wanted to impact them beyond and teach them how these things that they're learning to be great in basketball can also just copy and paste in life, and you're gonna get some success there too. And so it became that platform now where it's more about serving. And I know I got to entertain. I use the candy with medicine mentality, but I hope players get better or whoever. Even you. Like you don't have a kid I train. I don't train you. You know what I mean? But you found it and you found value in it, and I
Right.
think that's where we got to be. You know what I mean? Like let's stop being busy hating each other. Let's get busy giving value to each other and helping each other and enlightening each other. Or entertainment's needed too. So if you're good at entertaining like you, people need to go to clubs and hear music and let loose and not give a darn about what's going to happen that night as long as it's responsible. But
Yeah.
people need people. There's people that need that kind of release. For me, I need to be away from the rest of the world with my family. I need that. So I need resorts and vacations and things at home where we can do that. Everybody needs something. So the people that can give that kind of value and leverage the technology, especially social media, to give it before they even ask for money are going to win, are going to lead, and are going to be the best servants.
Okay. Yeah. I like that a lot. And I'm still trying to like work on building my my social media presence. I think it's like it's a challenging market. Like, I mean, that's how I view it. I'm not a hot chick. People aren't going to like a lot of my photos because I'm not a hot chick, but uh sex sells on in my perspective. But I think that's a focus that I need to move to, is doing more of the serving instead of being like, hey guys, check it out, here's me in front of my gear. Hey, I'm a DJ. Hey, check it out. Hey, here's my latest production. But maybe it could be like, yo, guys, like, here's something that's really cool. Like, here's 5 songs that like are really cool, like a minute, or whatever. So I like that attitude.
I think you should. Gary Vee actually encourages a lot of artists, especially where he works like hip hop guys, to put out, like he always says, I can't wait till someone puts a song a day out. So even if, like, let's say you do a 2 hour mix, take 2 minutes of that and just pump that out and pump that out and pump that out and pump that out, and then you are, because you're giving them entertainment. Some will like it, some won't, but you find the ones that do and just start engaging. Hey, do you like that? Or I would even, I'd probably do for you. I'm not trying to give you like some social media class right here, but just ideas. So let's talk about it. Yo, here's a 3 minute mix, or maybe you could even
Yeah.
incorporate this because you work with a lot of fitness people, right? So collaborate, right? Or let's say you and me collaborated, and I said, yo, make me this 5 minute mix, upbeat, has a lot of drums that kind of can rhythm and mimic a basketball,
Yeah.
and give that to me, and I'm gonna go create a workout to it, and then I'll film my best player doing it.
Right.
And then I'm giving you credit on the beats, and then in YouTube we title it, yo, dope DJ mix for 5 minute ball handling. You know what I'm saying? Like, find ways to do that, man, because music is pop culture, and the DJs have been almost, well, probably more producers, but DJs, it used to be, rappers and then DJs, right? You were just the
Right.
the sidekick, right? It's not hip hop culture and just club culture is going here. Y'all have enough voice. If you put enough of that, I think you're right. Don't say, hey, look at me. Look at them and say, what do you need?
Yeah.
And I
I
think
like
everyone
that.
can follow that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I try to do. Because I tell you, my Instagram would be all what I like, but then half people wouldn't get it because the things I like are the geeked out part. Oh, look how he dropped his hips and went through the cross step, and because of that, he could cut back. But nobody else gives a crap about that. You know what I'm saying? They want to see somebody
Yeah.
dunk or come off a pick and roll and pull up and hit the J. So, if I looked at me, my Instagram might be mediocre. Actually, I believe it would be.
Okay. Yeah, I like that attitude. That's where we got to have that like perspective, strengths and weaknesses, right?
For sure.
And go in and be like, all right, man, this is what I have to work on. So I always like to get perspective because everyone's got like a different approach, but you can always see like the successes of people.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I appreciate your guidance on that. I'll definitely like work to tighten my game up of surveying instead of just, check me out.
Man, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna write myself a note. I just thought of something else we could do. I don't want to put it on here because I don't want anyone to steal the idea before we do it.
I got you. We
I'm
can
kind
talk
of
after the
joking, but
show.
I'm not. I got an idea.
All right. We could talk about it after the show.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry. My bad. I don't want to get to left field. What else did? So we're talking about music. We're talking about social media.
So here we're gonna do something fun. This is what I call the lightning round segment.
Okay.
Um, I say like words or phrases, and you respond with green light, which is you like it, you're into it, you've done it, it's all good. Red light is no way, no dice, not a chance. Maybe you've done it, it's just like not something that you would ever be interested in.
Okay.
So, but the key thing, it's called lightning round because I'd like you to respond with your first immediate feeling towards it.
Got you.
All right, and then we can talk about each response. Just a fun way to kind of get the engagement, and then the audience gets a little bit perspective about you.
I feel like I'm on Family Feud, but this is gonna be fun because I always want to be on Family Feud. Come on.
There's no wrong answer. It's just if you hesitate, then I'm gonna
Yeah.
call you out.
Survey says, go ahead. What's the
Yeah,
first one?
LeBron the goat.
No. Red light.
red light, no. Because who would you say the goat is?
Jordan.
Jordan. Gotcha. All right, pineapples on pizza
Yep. With ham.
with Hawaiian style all the way.
All day. With stuffed crust.
Okay.
I got
Old
kids. I'm still allowed to do that. Y'all fancy adults can't do stuffed crust anymore. I got kids. I can still do stuffed crust.
You
All right,
can,
great.
man. Well, hold on. On the pizza, because I'm, being from New York, that
Yeah.
extra crispy where you can fold it.
Yeah. That
But
too. That too. Don't get me wrong. I'm a pizza connoisseur, but the Hawaiian has to come with stuffed crust. We'll put it that way.
okay, I got you. I mean, I haven't had stuffed crust in a long time, but I don't have kids, so I can't.
Just don't tell anybody. Hungry
Yeah.
Howie's. There you go. My bad. What's the next one?
All right. Next one. Old school hip hop.
Oh yeah. Oh
Who
yeah.
Who's your favorite artist?
Of all time now.
Or like, old school hip hop. Like, did you like Big L? Like what were you kind of into?
Everything. I found hip hop and I fell in love. And do you remember those BMG services where they give you like 15 CDs for $3 or penny or something, and then later they
Yes.
taxed you? I remember
Yes.
being a kid and I just found hip hop, And I didn't realize how those things worked. And back then, a kid could mail one of those in, and nobody knew, and then they didn't know how to hold you accountable, right? So I found
Hmm.
every hip hop one. I got 15 CDs, and like then another company came out. So I had KRS One, I had Rakim, Biggie, Wu Tang. I remember watching Wu Tang on Yo MTV Raps before they were anybody. And I was like 9, 10 years old, right? And I don't know how I got on MTV Raps 9, 10 years old. That's another story. But Old Dirty Bastard came on. And at 9 years old, that's a funny ass name. Old Dirty Bastard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
Yeah.
remembered them. And then all of a sudden, Wu Tang came on and they were like, yo, Old Dirty Bastard. I was like, that's the same guy? So, anyways, not to go too far, but my Mount Rushmore absolutely has Jay-Z,
Gotcha.
Biggie, Tupac, Nas, Big Pun, Big L's there. Big L's a little before I was born. Dr. Dre, The Chronic changed the rap forever.
Yeah.
And then Dre didn't stop from there. And then birthing Snoop and birthing, everything that happened with Tupac, how we have Tupac. Um, I would say a lot of them. A lot. I can listen to a lot of Jay-Z. I can listen to a lot of Biggie. I can listen to a lot of Biggie. I miss talent. I miss skill. I miss.
Hmm.
I'm gonna spit this way because y'all tried to copy me on the last, and you got to keep
Right.
up. Now I'm gonna keep spitting the same way, and we can all just sound alike. And then
Yeah.
some of these songs you can't tell what anybody's saying. Like no, and it was skill. I mean, some of the things that's come out of Biggie's mouth has become normal society terms. So societal terms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
100%.
that was special. Tupac, gosh, imagine Tupac being alive right now in these
It'd
times.
be roasting fools. It would be crazy.
No, but not the hip hop. The fact that he
Oh.
was beyond hip hop.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, like his
You
movement, he was so intelligent for a 20, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, when he first started getting the limelight of movies, like, man, that dude had a brilliant perspective on life.
for real. So those guys, 50 Cent came around at a real impactful time of my life. So I stuck with it. And at that time, I was playing college hoops. I was kind of feeling myself, and 50 had
Hmm.
that, I'm the shit vibe
Cocky.
and
Yeah.
all that. And DMX was huge. DMX was absolutely huge in my life. Like at that, I remember when Get At Me Dog, the first time I saw that video, because it was when Puffy and all of them were running the show, and it was cool. I loved it because I loved hip hop and I loved all this. But what I was going through in life wasn't like, yo, I'm rich, and we was poor, and I didn't have much, and I didn't know how to get more. And DMX had me feeling the same way. Like, man, not to say I went and followed suit, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I feel
Yeah.
you, X. My stomach is hungry. You know what I mean? Like, I do want. I'm not want to hear you dance around about your Ferrari that I'll never have. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
DMX was huge, 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 huge.
That's cool, man. I love those music selections because that's usually what's in my playlist on Fridays when I'm going into work. Hip hop Fridays for me all day.
For sure.
All right. So we've got one last one here. Interested in your thoughts on this one.
Okay.
Uh, Truly beverage.
Truly, that's like the alcoholic, like
The seltzer.
seltzers. I don't drink a lot. I don't drink a lot at all.
Okay.
I may drink 4 times a year, literally. It's probably more than that, but it feels like that. I've had them because my wife likes them. Those and the other ones that are like it, White Claw.
Yeah,
They're competition, right? They're basically
pretty much.
so I get it because I don't always like to drink liquor, and I college ended my beer days because of beer pong, and I was good at it, and I won a lot, so I drank a lot, and so that no more beer. I don't because I don't drink a lot. I don't like liquor, so something like that's good for me, but that's too. I don't know. It's too sugary. It's too.
It's not your thing.
I don't feel very manly drinking it.
Got it.
Just to be honest, this is an opinionated show, I don't feel like a man when I drink Trulies. You know what I'm
We
saying?
keep it real here.
Yeah, for real.
Well, look, Tim, I appreciate you coming out to the show. I really appreciate you having spending the time, offering your insight, talking about basketball, chopping it up. It's always good to connect with another New Yorker, and then we're out here in Texas. But what I want to do is offer you the floor here to mention your social media, your Spartan business, whatever you want to do. But the floor is yours at this time. Shout out whoever you want.
Appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, you can find me almost anywhere. It's either Tim Springer, like on Facebook. Twitter is Coach Springer. Instagram is Coach Springer. There's YouTube videos or whatever that may be. I know some of you watching maybe not care about basketball in that sense. If I can help anybody or my program can help anybody get better at basketball, I would love to help. All you got to do is find me on one of those handles. DM me. That's how me and DJ got connected, and I would love to connect with anybody and help. I'm here to help, especially the San Antonio community and beyond. But find me, and even let's just link up. Me and him were talking about how it's cool. He's also a DJ, not just a podcast guy, because I used to have a love for DJing and I never got a chance to be in it. So maybe I can, we can learn and combine on things. And if there's any way I can combine with anybody else in that way too and partner and we can help more people, let's do it, because that's what I'm all about.
Awesome stuff, man. Thanks again. All right, everybody. This has been The Output with me, DJ Unprotected, a podcast presented by Aztec Nation. Please take the time to follow Coach Springer, check him out and all the awesome stuff he's doing. Super inspiring. But if you want some of the behind the scenes action and bonus footage of this show, check me out at patreon.com/the output. That's patreon.com/the output. All right, guys. I hope you're picking up what we're putting out. We got a lot to say. Tune in next week. We've got another awesome guest on deck. We out.